All right, all right, all right. There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Good, Big O. Back home. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. I'm watching the market bounce back a little bit here, so it's nice to see after taking advantage of a little Bitcoin dip here. Anyway, let's get to it. They play the Cavs tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, bro, he's not tailing off. I'm gonna, if I write it one way, I'm gonna write it the other way. And and Bam continues to play like he wants to be a star, dude. And the 24 points the other night, I thought, 23 points the other night. And again, an incredibly efficient night, 8 of 14, 7 of 9 from the free throw line. I really love the aggressiveness. Have you talked to him about this? Is this something that he has talked about himself wanting to be more aggressive offensively?
He spoke about it when I spoke with him before the season. I asked him, what have you been working on this summer?" And he said, "Just being more consistent, and consistent in the way of, I think, his aggressiveness. Like, because there were nights last year, the years before, he would get 30
Yeah,
points on 20 shots, and the next night he'd have 5 shots, right? And everyone would be like, 'What's going on?'"
right.
I think he made it a focus this year to say, "I'm going to be more aggressive consistently. I'm either the best or second best player on this team. If this team is going to win, I need to be a big part of that offensively. I need to take on a bigger scoring role." And you see it. I mean, yes, a lot of them are mid-range shots. We've talked about that. I know there's going to be stretches where he's going to go cold. That's
That's
just going
who
to
he
happen
is.
when
That's who
that's
he
what
is.
that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But he's putting up the shots consistently. And this team needs that. They need that. You see it. And he's drawing more free throws. They're running offense through him. Now he's getting extra defenders thrown at him because he's taking a more aggressive approach. So now they're getting offense out of that when teams are sending second, third defenders at him. So
Because
it's
he's not just facilitating.
exactly
He's actually scoring now
right,
instead of he's passing up the pass and going for the
right.
score. And it's something that I've noticed and I'm extremely happy because in today's that's been my knock on him. In today's league, in order for me to consider you a star, you have to be able to impose your offensive will.
Right.
This isn't the Ben Wallace days and the Dennis Rodman days and all, that's fantastic for those people in that era when you scored 95 points a game. When points were at a premium, defense was the premium. But now that points are supreme and points are what you need, not defense really, because we you got to score in the one mid teens
Right.
in today's league. I need you to be more of an offensive powerhouse in this league in order to be a star. If you're more driven by defense, I can't really look at you as a star because you're not going to contribute nearly. It's twisted, but you
Hmm.
won't contribute nearly as much to the winning as you will being an offensive player in this league. The rules have dictated that. Unfortunately, it's not me changing it. It's not me grading it on a curve now. It's not me changing the rules and the way the game is played. They did that. So if you're going to play a different game in the 90s, then I can judge a star differently in the 90s. But in the 2020s, I'm sorry, dude. Ben Wallace is not a star anymore in the 2020s. That's just the way it is.
Defense is always going to be Bam's strength. I mean, that's what he's best at. He's a defense first player. But what you're seeing
Fine.
this season is that he continues to become a better offensive player. I mean, every year, say what you want about him. I mean, when he first got here, he was not. He was very raw offensively. He was not.
Of
He was not
course.
known. Nobody. I don't think anybody probably thought he would be a 20-point a game scorer in his first or second year. He just didn't seem to have that. And look at him now. I mean, he's averaging 22, 23 points a game on 50+% shooting. Um, and is he the best offensive center in the league? No. But is he top five at this point? Offensive
Easily.
center? Yeah.
Easily.
And that's props to Bam, props to the Heat for that development. Because again, when he first got here, he was a guy that he would get putbacks and
Right.
shots off of offense, score points off of rebounds,
But
alley oops, but not, yeah.
kudos to the Heat that they
Oh,
saw
yeah.
he had athleticism and a skill set. It wasn't like he was. Here's a great example: Orlando Robinson, who works hard at his game,
Hmm.
but he's a little bit more of a stiff player. You know what I'm saying? He's more mechanical. And he's going to have to put in way more work in order to become what Bam is. Where Bam has way more natural athleticism to
Yeah.
him. There's more
Yeah,
fluidity.
there's a fluidity for sure with Bam. He
Yeah,
almost looks when he has the ball, and he's had this too. His handles and his passing. I mean, that's that
guard
stood
like
out for 3 or 4 years ago, and he looks like sometimes like a perimeter player when he has the ball in his hands.
yeah,
And even
yeah.
his shot is a nice shot. It doesn't look like it looks like it's a guard putting up that jumper. The way he shoots it, his shooting motion, and that makes me think eventually. I don't want to say this year. Eventually, he's going to develop a 3-point shot because he's a
Yeah.
good mid-range shooter. He's a good free throw shooter. Usually, those type of guys, kind of like Chris Bosh, they eventually develop that 3-point shot. So I would expect that maybe next year, 2 years, whenever it happens, he's gonna take more threes eventually.
All right, let's start with the broken record now.
Yeah,
The other night, I get this is one of Jaime Jaquez's better games.
yeah.
He's only played a few, but it just you know what I mean.
Every game, it's like better and better.
Yeah, a couple of weeks from now, we're gonna go, hey, bro, this is
Yeah,
probably his best game yet. You know what I mean? But the other night, dude, the 19 points, 3 of 4 shooting from 3-point range, the 4 assists, 2 steals. This kid is not only good, but he's also efficient
yeah,
already, which just this is stupid. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. This kid can play ball, man.
yeah. He's
Wow.
shooting 50% from the field, and that's with his 3-point percentage before last game wasn't good.
No,
Um,
no, no. Yeah, yeah. That's got to improve.
yeah,
But
but I'm
overall,
saying, but overall, his mid range jumper, his finisher on the basket, just his knack to make plays, his cutting off the ball, his movement off the ball, his passing when he needs, like he doesn't really force anything. Everything just looks like in the rhythm of the offense. And then
mhm.
defensively, I know DeRozan got the best of him late in that game on Saturday, I think it was. But a lot of those shots were tough. And for the most part,
It's
they
DeRozan,
put
bro.
yeah,
It's
exactly. And
DeRozan.
they put Jaime and LeBron, they've put him on top players from other teams, and he has held his own. And yes, the offense has been impressive, but to me, the defense, that was one of the big question marks. Can he hold his own on defense? And not only is he holding his own, he's been one of the Heat's better defenders.
Yes.
You look at him, his metrics in isolation situations, he's one of the best in the league. Now, I'm not saying he's one of the best defenders in the NBA, but that's a good
No, no.
sign.
Yeah.
That's why he's playing late in games. That's why he's playing 30 plus minutes in games because Eric Spoelstra trusts him on both ends. And that you know this, Big O. To play late in a game for the Heat, you have to be trusted on defense. And that's exactly what Jaime has earned in the first 4 weeks of the season. So just continues to impress. I asked Bo about it after the last game. And I'm like, I know we ask you about this after every game, but because it just seems like every game we're asking about Jaime doing something impressive, and it's just really, really cool to see. And he's really added like a player of that caliber off the Heat's bench. That's a game changer for this team.
So let me ask you something. If Duncan continues at this pace, brother, there's only one thing to do with Tyler. And I know
Well,
you're not gonna know what Spo is going to do,
yeah,
but I just think it makes more and more sense the more you see it. The kind of player Tyler is, he's actually desperately needed more to run the second unit. And I know you say, you talked about it how they play him a short amount of minutes early on and then bring him back with the
yeah,
second unit. But things are going so well with the way they're structured now. And once, Caleb gets back into a groove, then you get him into the starting lineup instead of Highsmith or whoever else, or Jaquez or whoever. But you got to keep Duncan in there for this starting unit because, the other night, 22 points, 6 of 9 shooting. He's
yeah.
become a better all around player. And if it continues at this pace, it just doesn't make sense
Yeah.
to put Tyler back in there. It makes sense to bring Tyler off the bench, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess those are good points. But first, it's a big if this continues at this pace. I mean, Duncan is shooting 50% on threes since he became the starter. That's not going to continue, right? I mean, he's not going to shoot 50% from three on 7, 8 attempts a game.
Okay,
He's
so if he
probably
shoots 47,
30 or
45.
probably that's even that is unsustainable. Probably 40. Let's say 40%, which would be amazing, like for the type of threes he gets. But just in general, look, they could lose the next three. They could lose against Cleveland, New York, and Brooklyn, or they could lose two of the three, and then all of a sudden the conversation changes. So until Tyler is back, until he's close to getting back, we have to think about it in that context because he's not back yet. So if they lose two of the next three, the conversation changes.
That's why I said if it
Yeah.
continues at this
Right.
pace.
Yeah. The other option, the other option of doing, but the other option, Big O, is do you take Kyle out of the starting lineup? Do you
Kyle
put
Lowry?
Kyle Lowry and put him to the bench and start Tyler and Duncan? I'm not saying it's the best move,
And you're
but
putting
that's
all
another
your,
option.
but then you're putting all your firepower to start. You
Yeah.
got to have some balance. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember I'm already talking about also Caleb into the starting lineup eventually.
I think
So
Haywood is going to continue starting. I really do. I think Haywood continues starting in that power forward role. I think Caleb, they like him off the bench, kind of in that just you can plug and play in any different lineup. I think
Caleb and Tyler off the bench would be nasty.
Oh no, that is good. Look, Tyler, the bottom line to me is like the conversation. I know you don't agree with this, Big O, but the conversation of the Heat are better without Tyler Herro is ridiculous.
No. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, I
No.
know. That's why I know. I think that's the bottom line. Like whether he comes off the
I'm not
bench
talking
or he
about the
starts,
team. I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about the units
the
in
units for sure.
itself right now. I'm not saying to trade Tyler here. I'm not saying to
Yeah,
get rid of him. I'm not saying to bench him. He's going to still get his 30-something minutes a game.
right.
I'm just saying bring him off the bench because you kind of need him off the bench now more than you need him as a starter. And brother, it's been proven they can win without him. They can make runs without him. So let's stop lying to ourselves already. Yes, Tyler's fantastic. Yes, Tyler has a lot of talent. Yes, Tyler is multifaceted. Yes, Tyler is better suited coming off the bench, helping the Miami Heat because as a starter, you can't tell me that they're going to go any deeper, any
Yeah,
farther. And
yeah,
they do because they don't without him, they go to the pinnacle without him. So what's the difference?
yeah.
Isn't it about making the best team possible? Bring him off the bench. That's it. It's not about what Tyler wants. It's
Right.
not about making him happy. Brother, his fine ass wife at home should make him happy. That's what's supposed to make him happy. Here, you're supposed to make the team satisfactory. And for Spo, I'm sorry, dude. You gotta do what's best for the team and put him on the bench. That's
And
what at least that's what I would do.
Eric Spoelstra does that, right? He'll do what's best for the team. That's what makes him good. He has the job security to do whatever he wants. He could start a guy in a minimum. He could play a guy on a two-way contract if he wants over a Duncan. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it happen before. So he's the type of coach that will do that. My counterpoint, and I don't disagree with you, Big O. I think Tyler off the bench would be fantastic for this team. He would still need to play 30 plus minutes a game. But my counterpoint to that would be you need, like late in games, you're going to have Tyler, Bam, and Jimmy on the court. You're going to
Right.
95% of the time. You need to find a way to make it work with the three of them together.
Tyler, Bam, Jimmy, and Duncan you'll have on the court with
Maybe,
Bam.
yeah. But you need to find a way to make those three work together. You can't hide from it in the regular season. You can't. Well, they don't work together. You need those three need all the run they can get together in the regular season because in the playoffs, most of the minutes you're going to be playing is with those three on the court together. So, yes, I think Tyler would be good leaving those bench units. I think Eric Spoelstra would agree with that. That's why you see the way he's used Tyler when he was healthy, where he's the first one out and then in with the bench lineups. Like, there's a reason he does that, right? He knows that Tyler, as a lead ball handler, lead scorer with those bench lineups, is a good thing. That's usually successful. But those three together, I think Eric Spoelstra knows there is work to be done with, like, to make it work. We've seen it. There are some issues still with Bam, Tyler, and Jimmy, and like late in games, and who's who's taking the shots, how do they run their offense. They need as many minutes together as they can in the regular season, so that way in the playoffs it's a lot smoother. So that'll be my counterpoint to that, but we'll see. It's a good, as Eric Spoelstra would say, it's a high class problem that the Heat have right now, because they're gonna get back a 25-point a game scorer in a couple weeks.
Every time you say my counterpoint, I've been programmed since I was a child, and all I can think of is Saturday Night Live and Dan Aykroyd turning to Jane Curtin and saying, "Jane, you ignorant slut," in the point and counterpoint segment that they used to have back in
Don't
the
say
day.
that to me, okay, Vigo? Don't call me
Don't.
that.
That probably goes over your head because it was a long, long
Yeah,
time ago, and you probably don't even know anything about it. But when I hear point or my counterpoint,
yeah.
that's all I can think of. I could just think of Dan Aykroyd saying to Jane Curtin, "Jane, you ignorant slut." It was just the classic back in the day. All right, what do you got going on there, Harold, so folks can check you out, my man?
Yeah, so I posted two stories. One on Max Strus. I spoke with him ahead of tonight's game, where he's facing his former teammates, former coaches. He spoke about his Heat experience, kind of what happened, obviously, in the offseason, where he kind of knew it wasn't going to work out pretty early on just because of the money he was being offered and financial situation. I also spoke to Kevin Love, who I thought was going to play today in Cleveland for the first time since leaving the Cavs to join the Heat. And he had some interesting stuff to say, and just the leader he's become on this team, and taking over as a backup center, and why those minutes have been productive. But Kevin Love is out tonight for personal reasons, so he will not make his return to Cleveland today. But both those stories are up on MiamiHerald.com.
There you go. And follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chiang. Anthony, happy Thanksgiving, my brother. Safe
Yes.
travels. Appreciate you as always. We will catch up later on in the week. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Big O, to you and your family. And
Thank you,
Sean.
sir.
Have a good one.
There you go, Sean. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate you. And when we talk about Baptist Health, folks, Baptist Health is the official sports medicine provider for the Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, InterMiamiCF, FIU, FAU, Orange Bowl, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Miami Open Tennis, Miami Marathon and Half Marathon, BaptistHealth.net/ortho.